a special guest here today. She's one of my dear friends, and she uses my head as a muse. She's a little bit of an artist, which I don't know how you can say you're a little bit of an artist. I actually think you're a professional, really. But anyway, we're going to be talking about the metal ox year. So I'll wait for some people to connect. We've already got 5 likes. And I have assured we want to keep everything as informative as possible. It's going to be a conversation piece. I might actually turn the light off because it's sort of glaring at the moment. Hi, Eddie. How are you? We've got Eddie in the house, Jan. So I had to get Jan as comfortable as possible to have this discussion, and my camera's a bit dirty, so it's, let's see if I can get that off there for the glare.
That's all right, I can see you from here.
There you go, you can see me. I'm a bit blurry, aren't I? It's the reflective surfaces everywhere. I had some technical issues this morning, so I do believe Google's having a bit of issues at the moment. So a couple of the platforms signing in and things like that were having dramas. So we were going to talk to you today. I want your experience on, when does the Metal Ox year happen? What date is that? Is that the 11th?
It's actually the 12th.
Oh, okay.
11th, our Lunar Year's Eve.
Yep. So what do you do around that time to kind of usher that new year in?
We always just gathering around all other festivals. We eat and we celebrate. That's the only time, because we have this type of a big family type.
Yep.
So we almost 20% in a big family, and we gather annually.
Yeah.
Then we'll New Year. Lunar New Year.
So do you do different things for each cycle? Because it's a Metal Ox year, are there particular traditions that come through that you do with each kind of season? With each, for instance, when it's the year of the dragon, do you have certain things that you guys do around that time, or is it all similar in a theme of what comes through each new year?
It's actually all similar, but difference will be just the symbol and what we say to each other, and that's fun because the ox year, the ox in Mandarin, we pronounce, the pronunciation is change. So this year is really about change.
Yeah, especially because it's a vibration 5 year. I mean, in numerology, 5 is all to do with change, so it's all about those. And I know that when I went through that, I believe I was seeing a lot of 5s in 2012. I mean, everything I knew changed. It was a connection. It was my work. It was where I lived. It was this constant cycle of change. So, what's your opinion of how this year is going to go, and how can we use the Ox year to get the best out of 2021? What can we expect?
I think I just heard before we started, the word vaccine is actually stemmed from the word vaka, which represents ox.
Yeah.
And again, I think it's related to what we're going through right now. And the ox year in Chinese directly, it means agriculture and endurance and the power we have. And if you want to make change, I think this year is by you putting to your energy or whatever you have. Yeah. Maybe you have to put in more, but it's going to be able to turn around.
Yeah, well, even if you look at the astrology, we do have Uranus and Taurus, which is an ox, and it is squaring, and this week is set to be very interesting for all of us collectively, and it's probably one of the hardest weeks of the year, moving into 2021, where, during Mercury retrograde, we're having themes to do with Taurus, which is, like you said, land, finances, agriculture, our value systems. And I mean, in the charts, it's all to do with each person is going to have more luck, less luck. And, it's really what you do with it and how you're going to transform your life. But, it's tough, and it's going to be tough this week. But I think as we move out of March into March, it's the steps you're going to have to take to make those sacrifices. So I have noticed, even in the media, it's things to do with agriculture. We've had weather patterns. We've had, again, after all of these themes with our finances, we're looking at how can we do things differently. So, you know, how are you seeing that we can make those changes, and how do you address those changes, you know, for you? How do you deal with those circumstances? What have you found? Has it been for you?
For me, it's
Yeah.
like what I'm feeling right now, nervous.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a bit tough. But I think with this ox, it also gives us the strength and also the courage to just go with it.
So with the story of the ox, I've heard on YouTube, you know, through videos and things, that they say it was like a race, and that the rat climbed on the ox and it kind of swindled it to win the race. Is that something that we need to be mindful of in 2021? Like, you know, do we need to get paranoid and be careful about the way we're dealing with circumstances?
From this point, it's maybe yes, but another point is that the mythology actually talks about why they are working together, because the ox can't really see clearly, and the ox doesn't really know the direction. So actually, they are a kind of cooperating, they're helping each other.
Yeah. So is it sort of an analogy of what's happening in society at the moment, that it's like, and that can be with Taurus, it is to do with weather patterns in agriculture and food and money, and that need for us to actually stop looking at things as separate and actually look at them as together, and that we will have this need with opposites where we will have to integrate and actually help each other regardless of our differences. Do you think that's the theme that can come through?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, I'm saying that too. I mean, even I was talking to, and I did mention to you this morning that I am going to have a lot more interviews on the channel. Hopefully the technology will be working a bit better. But the one thing I have noticed is that even spiritual healers are having to use their techniques at the moment, especially during January, February, and even at the end of last year, I saw a massive shift happen. And there's a lot of, the shift is affecting everyone collectively. And because we have the nodes in Sagittarius, the way we're applying ourselves within our group energies is really having to transform. And some of that, it's almost like, it feels like tough love, but it's necessary in order to move forward. Do you find that that's happening in your life, you know, with group energies?
Yes, like, but it's more in tribe.
Yeah. Because Aquarius is tribe. It is tribe. And I think we'll find that, you know, even with the tribes that we feel we don't resonate with, you will actually find a way to maybe have compassion and understand, but maybe do it from a different perspective. And that's another thing I've really found quite largely at the moment. So is there any tips you can give us to deal with this?
To deal with
the metal ox, yeah, it's supposed to be quite lucky. I mean, what zodiac signs do you think would benefit, or it's just hit and miss, really? I mean, obviously a metal ox is going to benefit, but could that be hard for them as well because it isn't there yet, or will it benefit them more so if they're a metal ox?
It's really bipolar in our traditions.
Yeah.
If it's your natal year, if your zodiac is an ox, if you're an ox, then we usually go to temples to pray for good fortune.
Yep.
It's actually not praying for good fortune, it's actually praying for the protection, I would say.
Yeah.
Because we don't have anything bad to do with us.
No, yeah, paying it forward. Yeah, and even in the European culture, psychic attacks and things like that, which is what we talk about on YouTube, all of us in a cultural sense with religion have very similar beliefs when it does come to, you know, doing unto others, protecting yourself, not casting evil out, because it always comes back. It's a bit like, you know, those that practice magic, it like comes back threefold. I read that like gold really will promote, you know, protection to a degree, and diamond, you know, crystal. Is that true?
Yeah, I think so. And also the metal represents white and also the gold.
Yeah.
And the ox itself, it's actually a yin energy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think this year is going to be very interesting as well.
So do you think there'll be heavier masculine elements or heavy feminine elements with the yin yang?
From the Chinese zodiac sign, it's all about yin energy, and
Yeah.
then we will move through till next year it will be yang again.
Yeah.
But I'm not quite sure.
Well, wait. So, I mean, I know in astrology at the moment, there's a lot to do with feminine energies, especially because we have the South Node in Sagittarius. When you do look back in history, it's almost like it's linking back to 1984. And I mean, this is a really random statement. You're going to be going, Yildiz, this is getting off track. Now, in Australia, we had lockdown, and, you know, they would use the donut as an analogy to 0 cases. And the funny thing is, when I researched it, I was like, I'm seeing donuts everywhere, and this is crazy. Why am I seeing donuts? And when I researched it, it goes all the way back to World War I, World War II, where it used to be for the common man. And it was a bit like people that used to work in the mines. They would make pastries, and because they would work in the mines, the coating of that pastry was to stop them getting poisoning from the hard work that they did. And donuts actually link back to World War I, World War II. So I thought it was really interesting that some of these things that are coming through are showing us that our past, you know, some of these things we're needing to let go of, but we're taking the old and the new and we're bringing them together. But it is almost like history sort of coming through, trying to teach us a different way. Yeah, I mean, this is going to be a very interesting year. Anything else you want to add, Dal?
No, maybe you can ask me some questions.
Okay. Any questions in the house? Any of you guys in the house that have any questions? How long does the celebration season go for? You know, when you're moving into that new year?
I think we'll usually be. We will go back to work on 17th of February.
Yeah.
It's been like.
Which is interesting, because do you know that on the 17th of February is when Uranus and Taurus squares Saturn in Aquarius? And it's very difficult. So it's very unique that you guys are going back to work at that point. And it's almost like I listened to an astrologer the other day, and he was really saying these times, you know, the cracks in the system that have been coming through. And it was probably from last year moving into 2021. We've been, it's almost like rejection is the universe's protection, but it's like we've been put in the naughty corner to see what's not working. And it's like those warning signs, if we haven't addressed it with all that Taurian energy, you know, the middle ox, it's almost very karmic in nature that by the 17th, Saturn is the lord of restriction. And it's in the house of Aquarius, which is the collective and groups. And then Uranus and Taurus is in Black Moon Lilith. It is in, at the moment, Mars. And it's also directly connected to, what else? Uranus and Taurus. Now, what does that mean? It can mean, I mean, it's restriction. Number one, Uranus and Taurus makes things happen very quickly and suddenly. And Aquarius is actually linked to Uranus. So it can be sudden changes that come about, and it's almost like falling through the ice. So if you've noticed those cracks and you haven't addressed those areas in life, be it was financial, be it was, you know, wherever it was in your chart, it can be really quite tough this week coming through, especially on the 17th. So look after yourself on the 17th.
Sure.
Take your tomboline, you know, protect your psychic energy, make sure that you're safe at work, and just be mindful of that environment and how people can be maybe feeling very tense, there can be aggression because Mars is there. It can be restrictions with finances, maybe, you know, some of us wanting to go back to work, but then there's the financial aspect of things that we don't have a bus pass to get to work. It can be some of those frustrations that can come about.
Sure.
And you're like, thanks, Yildiz. Great. Thanks for telling me when I go back to work it's not a great day. Well, you'll always find that ahead of time. You'll see the warning on the wall. It won't be something, you know, that suddenly, oh, bang, you know, it's here. It's like we've been seeing these things. How are food and resource where you are? You know, is everyone over there coping? You know, different. I mean, our country in Australia, we have Taurus in the chart. You know, how are you guys going with that? Are there issues with resources and things like that? And it can be even separately, just down to group energy.
Like, I think we're I'm now living in Taiwan. I think this country is actually very
Lucky.
like lucky in
Yeah.
a way because we don't have so many people and
Yeah.
we're not actually so affected.
Yeah.
And if we look at this year, I think maybe till like June or July, this is going to be
Yeah.
going well.
I think, and it is showing how some things in each country, that's why I wanted to do astrology by country, because, you know, in looking at the birth charts, we have different things for each country coming through. And that can be in the economy, it can be through with our way of living. You know, by the time we get to March, we've got Mars moving into Gemini, which is about that local energy and things coming through. So it's shifting us to a point where it is a rippling effect. It's not, although we might be comfortable and we may have set up quality practices, the ripple-on effect, even for me in Australia, because I have a lot of clients in America, I've already seen how it's directly impacting them, you know. So it is this rippling down effect, I think, that will affect us all. If we're set up to a degree, we can learn from each other. And I know New Zealand has been doing really well. They've had some situations crop up. We in Australia, in Perth, WA, have been quite good, I might add, but we had hurdles that were coming up, which we're having to readdress. So I think it'll be interesting in the months coming, you know, how that all goes for us. But even the supply chain, I do think is really being redefined, so to speak. It's like what we actually want from the shops. It's like the way we're shopping is changing as well.
And also, I want to add something, but I don't know if you guys have earthquake.
We have, and with Uranus and Taurus, it's about sky. Mars can link to electricity, so the weather patterns, when we're having really, because it's Mercury, it's air. And it's in Aquarius, which is again Uranus. It's both of those energies. We do have most of the planets direct, but because we have Mars there, it's causing a lot of humidity. Again, Neptune and Pisces, when it makes squares, it can be earthquakes and things like that. And yes, because it's Taurus energy, it is agriculture weather. So how is it directly impacted? Through sky. You know, it's not through just what's happening now, it's the weather patterns, and it is aspect of the moment that those things can be there, and especially near the eclipses, but it's still happening. We've had fires, we've had a lot of severe weather patterns where it's been cyclones and things like that, which is common, but not so far inland to the point we were having floods through Australia. Which was rain that we hadn't had before, not to that level. That was a huge amount of rain. Yeah. What about you guys there? Have you found earthquakes and things like that coming through?
It's been coming through more frequent than the past few years. I mean, it's also connected to the land this year.
Well, we do have the sun in minimum as well, and you know, I've got to research further how long that goes for. So you will naturally get more solar flares, which again can affect our technology. And it's something that's always been there. You know, it goes into minimum for a while, then it's in maximum. Scientists are looking at the sky, which is very much, you know, aspected in the astrology at the moment. But the shift has always been on the planet. Mother Nature, I do feel, always does know best. So, you know, this shift is quite natural. It knows how to heal itself. And, you know, if it doesn't like something, it's going to get peeved, doesn't it?
Yes.
It knows its way. Any questions if I did miss any of you in the house? I'll just quickly go through. If you guys have any questions for me, Jan, any comment points and that, feel free to ask. And if we do miss you after, you know, feel free to write a post and we can readdress it later with anything that you guys might want to discuss, either from an astrological point of view or a, you know, a viewpoint with the middle ox, yeah? Hi, sweet. Hi, doll. Any questions in the house in relation to the metal ox here and what to expect? Number one, because it's a 5-year, we will have a lot of changes. Yes, this week we've got major aspects that are squares, which I will discuss later. It is a really testing week. But this is really setting us up for the rest of the year. You sort of do have a window between going into point in the year where we will have another Uranus and Taurus square. That'll be June the 14th, which again can be these Taurian themes. So this week's really important, as much as there might be a little bit of adversity. It's almost take stock of what those themes are in your life. And then by the time you move to the point of mid-year, you'll know what those themes are. Then when we get to the next state will be December the 24th. And that's also going to be as we have a Venus retrograde in Capricorn. So, you know, it won't go direct until the new year. I love it. Don't you love it when the astrology kind of rolls over to the next year? You've got all these incompleted cycles. Can't do anything yet, yeah? It's like, are we there yet? No, we don't start the new year till, you know, March, really. That's how it's been feeling for many years now. I've noticed that in a current trend and thing. So I'll just quickly read. Yes, this is my lovely friend Jan. She said she's very happy to see you face to face. She is one of my clients, but she's one of my friends. And I asked her yesterday. She was like, "What?" I was like, "You'll be fine. We'll be fine." It's not that hard, is it? It's not that horrible. Okay, well, I'm going to love yous all and leave yous, and I'll come back a little bit later. We're going to do an energy update. You're in Scotland, born in the year of the dragon. I'm a dragon too. I'm a metal dragon. Did you know that, Jan?
Metal dragon? I thought you said you're a fire
No, I'm
dragon.
a fire dragon. Sorry, yes, I'm a fire dragon.
You know, when, like, in the year of fire, every parents want their babies to be born in this year.
I know.
Very competitive.
Yes, and my grandmother was as well, and my father was a tiger. Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, guys.
Okay.
What's that?
The tiger people, we actually have a lot of taboos with tiger.
Yeah, he was interesting. I'll say that much. God rest his soul, he was interesting. What is the whole story?
You mean about the tiger, or?
Oh, I'm not sure. Yeah, so what are the themes surrounding that? With the tiger, what did you say come through with the tiger?
It's actually also to do with the customs. It's traditions. Like
Yeah.
if you are getting married or having new babies, then we will not invite tigers to come through, because that's a bit like it's going to damage something.
Oh, so it's like taboo. It's taboo belief systems, yeah. I know that there's a custom in Europe. Like if you have a visitor that comes, you give to them as they come. But when they're going, we actually get a bucket of water, and for their safe journey, we cast the water behind the car so that they have safe travel. So, yeah. Anyway, I'm going to love you guys all on YouTube, and I'll leave you, and I'll come back a little bit later. And we will do some energy updates. Thank you so much for joining me. I love you to bits, lady. Thank you. I really, really appreciate it.
Bye.
Bye. I can turn